solidarity be constructed?
Well, there are continuities and discontinuities, but let us talk about the continuities first, which is that it is really pleasing to be in Paris on a sunny May day and see that many universities are occupied, including in Paris. You know, we know them, this university, Nanterre, Sorbonne, other institutes of learning, and at the same time, we have a huge railway workers' movement against the neoliberalization of the French railway system. And the connection between railway workers and students meeting each other, going, talking to each other, it's difficult not to be reminded of 1968. So that's very pleasing. On the other hand, we have a ruling elite, which of course is no longer as complacent as it used to be because of the 2008 Wall Street crash, which really disrupted the smooth flow of the capitalist system. People thought there were no longer any problems. But this has created austerity measures, it's encouraged racism, it's encouraged attacks on immigrants in virtually every single country in Europe. It's seen the growth of the far right. That's not exactly what happened in '68, but that reflects and contextualizes the period in which we're living today. And all this is creating counter movements. It's not that nothing is happening. The occupation movements which jumped from the Arab world to the United States, to Spain, to other parts of the world, opened up something new, very important. But we learned from Egypt and partially from Tunisia and also from the occupation movements that in addition to occupations, which are crucially important, you do need some politics. Because if you don't come in with some political approach and some political program, people stronger than you on the right go into that vacuum and try and take it over. And the wars, there's very little solidarity with the Arab peoples, whose countries are being devastated. Nearly 2 million dead in Iraq, 30 million dead in Libya. The Palestinians constantly attacked and denounced in the Western media, in exactly the same way. The Syrian war not treated seriously. And all these wars produce refugees. Every single one of them. And then you give the refugees a kick in the backside and say, no, we don't want you. So at the very least, the citizens of Europe should say to their rulers who are making these wars, and of course in the United States, that every time you fight a war, agree to take 100,000 refugees in every single European country and 500,000 to stop the Iraq war from taking place. I was all over Europe and in the United States soon after 9/11. 100,000 people in New York, 150,000 people in LA, demonstrations on the West Coast, and every single American city, which really heartened me. And here in Europe, 2 million in London, nearly 2 million in Madrid. France was the lowest, by the way. The lowest. And the excuse that it's because Chirac was in power, I don't buy that. I think the French were at that time de-internationalized, very parochial in their outlook. But everywhere else there were huge demonstrations, but we failed. We failed to stop the war. And that demoralized large numbers of people who said there's nothing we can do and only a handful remain. So there are lessons to be learned from all this, but there's no reason to be too depressed about it. There are still enormous possibilities.